Did you know gifted students can also have a learning disability? In fact, gifted students can manifest any of the 14 disabilities listed in the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, with the exception of intellectual disability. The official term is twice exceptionality, or 2E. Current estimates suggest that there may be anywhere from 180 to 360,000 twice exceptional students in America's schools, but they can be tricky to find. A 2E student may look on paper like an average student, a poor student, or a gifted student. For some twice exceptional students, their giftedness and disability intersect in such a way that both exceptionalities can be practically invisible. This is called masking, and it can be a huge barrier to these students having either their giftedness or their disability identified for services. A twice exceptional student may have competing behaviors that can result in underachievement in the classroom and test scores that don't accurately reflect a 2E student's real ability. Likewise, the disability of a 2E student may be overshadowed by their giftedness. A 2E student may be able to perform at or above the expected average for their age despite their disability, but this student might not be achieving at their full potential because of their unidentified disability. 2E students may also develop compensation strategies that help to hide their disability or giftedness. However, not all compensation strategies are healthy, and the risk of entrenched harmful behaviors is great for 2E students that aren't identified until later in their academic career or not identified at all. Another issue twice exceptional students can face when their disability and giftedness intersect is trait intensity. For example, a gifted student with ADHD may exhibit more intense qualities of both traits in the classroom: blurting out answers, stubbornness or defiance, or inability to focus during lessons the student has already learned and mastered. Twice exceptional learners are also more likely than their gifted peers to experience anxiety, poor self-concepts, and depression. They are more likely to exhibit acting out behaviors due to frustration and the discrepancy between what they can and cannot do. Considering all these factors, it's no wonder that the abilities and disabilities of twice exceptional students often go unnoticed. So how best can we identify 2E students for services? The traditional approaches for identifying students with disabilities, below expected achievement, and the traditional approaches for identifying students who are gifted, high test scores, don't always work for 2E students. Recommendations for identifying disabilities in gifted students include following state and federal special education guidelines, using multiple measures of achievement, using curriculum-based assessment or task-specific assessments, examining performance over time, and looking for a pattern of declining performance paired with evidence of superior ability. Recommendations for identifying giftedness in students with disabilities include individual measures of intelligence. IQ is still a valid and reliable indicator of giftedness. Examining patterns of test scores, looking for scores that are well above what is expected for the child's age, including high scores on above-level tests. Dynamic assessment, which examines a child's ability to learn from experience. The Raven's progressive matrices and the Naglieri nonverbal ability test have also both been shown to be useful in identifying giftedness in students with language difficulties. As you can see, twice exceptional students can be tricky to identify for a number of reasons. 2E students are routinely failed by the educational system with either their giftedness or their disability going unrecognized. The Americans with Disabilities Act says that students qualify for disability services if their disability causes substantial impairment in a major life activity. This is usually measured or discovered in schools by a student achieving below the expected average. This criterion may be why some educators doubt that giftedness and learning disabilities can coexist in the same student. But if a gifted student with ADHD, a specific learning disability, or autism is able to achieve at or above the expected average, that doesn't negate the need to address the very real educational impacts of that student's disability. 2E learners require a comprehensive approach to their education. Educational services for these students must identify and address both their giftedness and their disability. 2E students require a 504 accommodation plan with goals and strategies for addressing their deficits. 2E students require differentiated instruction and acceleration opportunities that support their high academic potential. TUI students should also be monitored for the development of emotional or interpersonal issues and affective disorders, and provided with appropriate services and interventions. For twice exceptional students, knowledge is literally power. The more people who know about and advocate for twice exceptional students, the more power these students will have to access the necessary educational services that will help them reach their academic and personal potential.